now it's Ubimax's turn to show us their solution. It is Gábor Landstoff. Gábor is an EMEA sales manager for Ubimax and the key accounter for Coca-Cola Hellenic. He's an expert in consulting customers on the logistics and remote assistance use case, as well as in translating complex processes into simple AR workflows. And second, it's Sunil Duggal. Sunil is a sales manager and has written a thesis during his MBA about the role of augmented reality in logistics and automotive industry. He works closely with clients on their business solutions. So Gábor and Sunil, please take it away.
Thank you very much, Christian, and it's a pleasure to be here. Welcome everyone to the webinar, and first of all, I would like to thank our longtime partners over at RealWear for giving us the opportunity to present here. I'm very excited for the next half an hour, 45 minutes, and can't wait to present you what we have, also listen to your questions. And with that, I would say, let's also start and get right into it. So what you have obviously seen is we are going to present in the next couple of, in the next little bit short of an hour about our journey in augmented reality with Coca-Cola Hellenic. And as you can see, and you may have heard as well, Coca-Cola Hellenic has successfully revolutionized their entire value chain with Ubimax Frontline. So to talk about what we are going to be covering today, we have a short agenda. We will be presenting you Ubimax at first, and for those of us who, or for those of you who do not know yet who Ubimax is, we will give you a short introduction, and afterwards we are going to show you how our solutions work and give you a brief introduction of our solution. And then, as promised, we will take you on a journey with Coca-Cola Hellenic and show how they utilize our solution and how they make sure that everything that they are using is the best for the users and also provides the necessary business benefit that they signed up for. So with that, I would go ahead and introduce Ubimax. We are a German-based software company. We are focusing on augmented reality software. Since our foundation in 2011, we saw that basically we have arrived to a point where there is really a use case, there is really a possibility for augmented reality to truly change the world and change the workforce, the deskless workforce as we know it. We have been growing very steadily since then. Now we have around 100, 110 employees across Europe, North America, as well as in Mexico. We have 3 offices in Germany, 2 in the United States, as well as 1 in Mexico. We have lots and lots of customers, of course, some of the very big ones we are going to mention today. And we have a lot of experience in industry, and thankfully, to our presence, or thanks to our presence in the market, we have managed to win renowned awards such as the OGI Award. So before we get to the presentation, I think the good way for us to do is to understand where you are currently in your AR journey. And for that, we have found that probably the best metric for us to measure that is to ask you whether you already have an HMT1 or an HMT1Z1 device. And with that, we will ask you a poll, and you will have 15 to 20 seconds to answer this poll. And thank you very much. I believe the poll is already on the screen. So please provide your answer. Let us know if you already have a device, and then we can also say or tailor our presentation also a bit better for you. And I believe probably most of you have already answered the questions. So if we could just have a look at the results as well, then that would be great. And I see that 62% of you has answered that you already have a device, and 38% of you said that you don't have a device yet. Now, I'm very happy to see that you are already, or most of you are already on the, at the start of your AR journey. For those of you who do not have a device, I truly believe that if you have listened to the presentations yesterday and today, you will be convinced to get one of these devices. And I would encourage you to contact our longtime partners, also RealWear, to get one of these devices. Now, to talk about, we have talked about hardware, of course, but as we all know, and as you may have seen in the last day, there needs to be a software platform which will make sure that you are using your HMT1 to its full potential. And this is what we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how you can get the most out of your device and how you can use a software platform like Ubimax to make sure that you are able to cover not just one specific use case, not just, let's say, remote assistance or just work instructions or 3D models, but you're able to cover all of this with one specific platform. Because why would you be going towards different software solutions when you can realistically just choose one and make sure that it satisfies all of your requirements? And this is exactly what we are focusing on. This is exactly what Ubimax Frontline is about, is enabling the frontline workers to make sure that they are using the headsets to its full potential, and they have all the information necessary in front of their eyes. Our mission truly is to revolutionize the deskless workforce. Unfortunately, in the last couple of years, the technological advancement has been absolutely impressive for a lot of us. However, the people who are really working on the front line, they are unfortunately somewhat left out of this technological revolution. And this is what we are thriving to change. And let's have a look at how we are actually doing this and how we are already managing to use our software to make sure that we are able to provide the benefits to the frontline workers. In our software, and this is what we call the Ubimax Frontline. This is probably even more relevant today as it was before. During the current pandemic, unfortunately, we have had the chance to observe our frontline workers in difficult situation. And to show you that this is truly our mission, we have also named our software quite some time ago, Ubimax Frontline, and emphasizing what we are striving to achieve and what we are already achieving at a lot of places with our software. So we spoke briefly about a software platform. We spoke briefly about how you should choose your software when you are thinking about using augmented reality. And I mentioned that we are able to cover a lot more use cases than just one specific use case. And you can see this here also in front of you now. We have in our software, we have available several different functionalities which will allow you to use our software, for example, for logistics with the xPick solution. You will also hear, and you might have known as well in the past, that we have deployed, we were one of the pioneers in vision picking, and we are using augmented reality headsets to make sure that there is a hands-free working in the warehouses. As well as for manufacturing and maintenance, we are able to provide the frontline workers with complex work instructions, simplified and demonstrated on the AR smart glasses in a very user-friendly way. So that means that once you have, let's say, a checklist, or you have a workflow to show or to repair a machine, you are able to show that on the headsets, and you are able to create this AR content on your own with xMake and xInspect. And last but not least, of course, one of the most important and key features and key use case today when traveling is already somewhat restricted is the remote support part. Now, for a lot of you might have seen also, and you are most likely aware of the remote support use case. Now, for us, remote support is one part of our solution. It's not our full solution. We are focusing on a lot more than just remote support. It is one part which is tailored also specifically to industry requirements. And let's see where this is already in use. So what kind of industry environments are we talking about? You might have seen also that we have lots and lots of customers, of course. We have some of the biggest ones that I'm going to talk to you about is, for example, Airbus, BMW, Krones, Schlumberger, Porsche. We have managed to deploy our solution at these customers with multiple hundreds of devices, and we are currently also in the process of scaling up with other customers of ours. Now, one of these, which you can see also on the slide, of course, is Coca-Cola Hellenic Bottling Company. As promised, we're going to take you on this journey, and I'm going to tell you why the Coca-Cola Hellenic case is quite special to us, and also, I believe, special for the market. Before we do that, I would, let's say, just to bring everyone up to speed, a couple words about Coca-Cola Hellenic and who they are and what they do. Coca-Cola Hellenic is basically part of the global Coca-Cola network, and they are one of the largest bottling plants. So there are multiple entities around the world which actually produce and bottle the drinks that we get on our table in the restaurants and that we get also in our fridge. And also when we are on a night out, you can also have some of these drinks, of course. But these are bottled on in the manufacturing plants, such as some of these plants which are operated also by Coca-Cola Hellenic. So they have 28 countries around Southern and Eastern Europe, including Nigeria. And they have also quite a large amount of warehouses and distribution centers with 258 filling lines in their region. So they produce probably a lot more cases of drinks than what we will ever see in our lifetimes. To make them be available or be able to do this, we are very happy to help them out with our solution. And let's see how we have deployed our solution and what are the key metrics of what Coca-Cola currently achieves. You can see also the countries in which the Ubimax Frontline is already deployed. And let's start with that. They have 53 manufacturing plants in this region, and currently we are covering all of them. That means that we do remote support and also work instructions and training workflows for all 53 manufacturing plants in the Coca-Cola Hellenic network. We currently have 11 warehouses already using vision picking and achieving the benefits of increased efficiency as well as reduced error rate. We have close to 300 devices by now. The exact number to measure is somewhat difficult because it's constantly growing. But in addition to the 11 warehouses that we have deployed already, there is a couple more coming, exactly 5, that is going to be live still in 2020. And with these devices, of course, we have close to or more than 1,000 AR users whose life and day-to-day business has essentially changed, and they are now using the augmented reality solution of Ubimax Frontline on a daily basis, basically. So just to give you an idea of how each of these or how our solutions are used in each of the parts of the supply chain, we have xPick, of course, and xInspect and xAssist, and you will see how these are used in the manufacturing plants as well as the warehouses of Coca-Cola Hellenic Bottling Company, to talk a little bit about how a typical project looks like, and where we were at the very beginning and how we got where we are now, where we have 53 plants deployed. Is, of course, it has to be some sort of a journey. But to show you really how we developed our relationship and how it looked like, you can see that we are now covering these 53 plants with the manufacturing, maintenance, and remote support solution. And we have started initially in 2019, August 15th. That's when we got the final agreement between the two of us that we will train 27 plants, as well as send them the devices and also show them our solution. Shortly afterwards, on the 2nd of September, we started with group trainings for remote mentoring, as well as the workflows and training and inspection workflows. And we had around 2 hours of training per group. And of course, by having all these 27 plants onboarded, we managed to do this already in the 2nd of October. So roughly around 4 weeks, so around 20 days time. 27 plants were onboarded. They were able to create their own workflows and own inspection processes, as well as use the remote support to their benefit anytime they want. So just to demonstrate really how easy it is to start, not only with remote support, but as well as work instructions. You can do it basically in a month. And going forward, we had already plans, and of course, Coca-Cola had already plans to implement further plans. And we started, and also we trained over the span of 1 month, these 16 plants once more. However, then the current situation, the current pandemic came in. And this is something that's probably very relevant for all of you. How Coca-Cola decided to react. They saw our solution, they knew the benefits, and they said, okay, we haven't covered all of the plants yet, so we are going to now spread this solution in the further 11 plants, and now we will have all of the manufacturing plants that we have covered with the Ubimax Frontline. And now this is how we arrived over the span of even probably less than half a year, from 0 to covering all of the plants. Of course, this could have been done in a shorter time, but just to give you an understanding of when you make the right decisions, when you make the decision to move forward, it's super easy to go from something not being live yet to fully operational. And this is what we expect also until the 16th of May. Once the trainings are also finished, we would be, or Coca-Cola will be able to use our solution fully productively in all of their plants. And now we have covered the inspection workflows as well as the remote support. I would like to give the chance and hand over the stage to my colleague Sunil Duggal to talk a bit more about how specifically our remote support solution works. So Sunil, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Gábor, for giving us a deeper insight on the Coca-Cola story. On this part, we would like to cover how Coca-Cola is using our solution for remote assistance. And it would be useful if we first see how remote assistance actually works. So what we see here is one side, worker is wearing a HMT smart glass, and then he connects with the remote worker or technician to establish a remote call using Wi-Fi. At the same point of time, he has a chance to invite the other members on a call. Once the call is established, technician can exactly see what the worker is seeing on the other glasses. And by using a step-by-step guidance instruction, troubleshooting and inspection can be done in no time. He also has an access to features such as annotation. He can share pictures with remarks, as well as record videos on the live call. As a next step, we have also planned a small demo video to portray how remote assistant actually works. We'll also explore some of the useful features. So what we see here is our Frontline workplace platform, and the call is initiated by one of our colleagues who's wearing the HMT1 smart glass. Once the call is answered, you can see the feature listed on the right side of the screen. And you can also see the Coke bottles are lying on the table. If you were to highlight the area where the bottles are lying, you can use the AR tracker feature. And if you would like, so you can see that the AR tracker is actually tracking the bottles here. And if you would like to see as a reference attachment or a document, you can also do that. So here we would try to upload one of the reference bottles so that we can compare both the items. And once that happens, the picture would come on the right-hand side. And then we clearly see how the bottles actually look like. So once the picture is uploaded, you can compare the reference bottle and compare it, and it also makes it easy to visually detect any defects. So thanks to the video, you can clearly see the damage sticker on the Coke bottle. So first, you take a quick snapshot. You may highlight the area by using one of the feature on the right-hand side as a marker. Yeah, and at the same point of time, you also have a functionality to use point out arrows, which actually makes it very easy to detect any defects. In the next part, and at the same point of time, you also have an annotation feature which can define the complete next step, and you can solve any problem. So thanks to the video. So at the same point of time, we will inspect another bottle where you can see and adjust the brightness and the zoom level here. So here we have a zooming feature, which can be adjusted depending on the requirement or the area that it is built in. So yeah, you can clearly see the video and the bottle, and the problem is resolved quickly. Our solution provides well-known benefits here for the remote assistance, such as reduced travel cost and reduced training time, and also the hands-free work. However, to achieve these benefits, to make sure that you get the best experience out of your wearable device, you need a platform which is more than just a simple audio and video stream. What made it possible to Coca-Cola to achieve the benefits was thanks to our additional feature of our platform that provides, such as file sharing tool, live annotation, automatically generated reports, where you can, and then you can evaluate which platform you choose. You will also need to take things into consideration in order to gain most of the benefits. You would need extra functionality that is industry proven and purpose-built software like Frontline can provide. The greater flexibility what platform can provide. As a new feature developed, also it has a feature wherein you can do a installation on the premise, or it could be on the cloud. That gives you the freedom to tailor software to your environment. It also can be scaled to multiple sites very easily, like you saw earlier in the previous projects. Our remote assistance solution is a superb tool which includes all powerful features what we discussed. Now, if your organization is exploring a solution with a feature such as annotation, AR marker, and a call traceability, or step-by-step guidance, along with the feature which are listed here, then this solution perfectly fits in there. And not only remote assistant, but our platform also helps in training and inspection workflows. And I would like to invite Gábor once again to give us more insight on this part. Gábor, back to you.
Thank you very much, Sunil. It was really good to get an understanding of how the remote support solution works. And of course, as mentioned before, you really need to take care that you target what benefits you want to achieve when you are choosing an AR platform, and you have an understanding of what kind of functionalities you need to achieve those benefits. And some of those, of course, Sunil has mentioned. The annotations, the AR marker, the call traceability. The additional functionalities which we can also cover with our solution is, for example, complex work instructions. And again, we are back at the manufacturing and maintenance part of the solution. And imagine the scenario where you have a certain instruction to clean a certain machine. Now, how would you translate that currently into an AR workflow is, you might approach a company, you might approach someone, and then they give you an understanding of how this could look like in AR, and then that specific company would need to develop this workflow for you. That is the past. The present and the future with Ubimax Frontline is that you can do these workflows on your own. And that is thanks to the Frontline Creator solution, And you can see here a simple workflow that we have created in our Frontline Creator tool. So it is, I could show you, of course, a lot of the functionalities of the Frontline Creator, and I'm very happy to get in touch with all of you afterwards. Due to time constraints, of course, we would be focusing on the most important parts here. So this is very much like a workflow that you have already seen, maybe in your day-to-day business in other context. You can create these workflows via drag and drop. So you can just drag and drop another step. You can create the transitions between these steps very easily. And also you can name and edit each of these steps on your own. So one thing that you can see already in this specific workflow is that you have the record measurement, the speech to text, and the checklist functionality, which means that you cannot only display certain information on the workflow, but you can make it dynamic. You can connect it to your backend system. You can instantly get live data back to your system and have it available at hand. One more thing that you should also take care is that in a workflow like this, you can implement an xAssist, so a remote assistance call. And that means that the person doing the workflow, the person being asked to carry out a certain inspection, will be somewhat forced to ask for help if needed, or somewhat forced to call someone, a more educated expert on the specific workflow, to double check that they have done the correct steps. And all of this is possible today. This is not something that's in the future. This is something that has been possible for quite a while with Ubimax Frontline. And this is why I urge you, when you try to choose the software platform you would like to use, then take all of these into account, which platform can do the most for your business processes. And maybe to elaborate a little bit more on the checklist, the record measurement, as well as the speech to text. So how they look like in practice and how they would show up on the smart glasses. I will show you short videos of these. What we needed to create, for example, this specific checklist, we didn't need to code anything. This is all available in the software. You just type in the actual options for your checklist, and then the person wearing the smart glasses, they are already able to tick certain boxes. So imagine a scenario, of course, where you are where you need to check certain items, and you would do the actual checklist on it, where you would need to record certain measurements on a specific item or on a specific machine. And then you would also, of course, do this with voice. And you can display so much more than just correct or not correct. You can display the ideal range for a certain measurement. And maybe one more functionality that's important, we all have to have reports. We all have to have reports for certain processes, and certain reports require extra comments from the person writing or doing the actual inspection workflows. Now, this is somewhat difficult with a device with which you cannot really type into. So this is why we have also the speech to text functionality, where simply you can just say whatever you want and the software itself will translate it to text. And afterwards, this will be also in your report. And as you can see that once we have said something, the software already does the punctuation, also capitalizes the beginning of the sentence, and so on and so on. So the reality is that these functionalities were needed also by Coca-Cola to achieve the benefits that we spoke about. And what these benefits are is very much quantifiable benefits, like 30% faster training time, 20% reduction for changeover. But truly, one of the best features or one of the best functionalities of the software is that you can do it on your own. You do not have to ask an external company to do these workflows for you. You do not have to pay out however many €1,000 or US dollars for them to create AR content for you. You can do it on your own. You can also create these workflows, and once these workflows are created, you can replicate these workflows. And each of the replications of the workflow, for example, a training, it will have a separate record, meaning that you can track and trace all of the activities that have been done with the Ubimax Frontline software. To mention, of course, also the reason why you would, or one of the very important things is that your end users are satisfied. And this is why throughout the long years, of course, with our customers together, we have made sure that the interface as well as the functionalities of the solution are very intuitive and they are very easy to use. And all of this, of course, results in less mistakes in processes. This was the package of our solution, the part of the solution which covered manufacturing, maintenance, and remote support. And now, briefly, also let's talk about our logistics deployment at Coca-Cola Hellenic. This is probably the beginning of our collaboration with them. In 2019, April, we started with a pilot in Greece, and the results were already so convincing to them that already for 2019, we covered 8 warehouses. And in these warehouses, the picking is currently Frontline software, and the Coca-Cola bottles as well as other drinks get to you thanks to these operations. So how does all of this work? The person puts on the headset, they get what they need to pick up from a certain location, and it's all fully hands-free, voice controlled, and they have to scan the QR codes, as you can see in the second picture, to confirm that they have been collecting the right item. And the solution combines all types of different technologies like voice, vision, scanning via the camera. And this enables the workers to focus on their actual tasks. And this is exactly what Coca-Cola Hellenic has been looking for, a solution which takes away from the outdated source of information of paper. Also tablets, phones, or even voice picking technology. Vision picking does all of these at once, provides the benefits of all of them and more. It gives you the visual guidance for your logistics processes. It gives the end user the possibility to always have all of the information at hand in front of their eyes. And thus they managed to eliminate paper, they managed to eliminate terminals on their forklifts and reduce also the hardware as costs as well as the software benefits that they have provided them are, when you think about the scale, 10% efficiency in increase or 10% increase in efficiency on average, that's very easily quantifiable. And this could also be done for you. 99.99% service accuracy, 0 returns from customers up until 2020 February is when this data comes from. These are absolutely quantifiable benefits. You do not need to think about, is this innovation project with augmented reality something that we want to do? I would tell you, if you want to save money, this is definitely something you want to do. This is shortly about our xSpect solution. And now coming to the end of our presentation, I would like to maybe summarize and get the key takeaways of the webinar. As mentioned, we have a platform satisfying multiple use cases. We are not just focusing on one thing. When you choose your software platform, evaluate also the functionalities you need to achieve the benefits you want. This is important for remote mentoring as well as the inspection workflows and training workflows. Combining vision and voice technology with vision picking solution, you're able to achieve benefits that you haven't been able to do before on a much larger scale. And maybe just to emphasize, we are not talking about something that could be done in the future. We are talking about something that we have deployed with multiple hundreds of devices and which currently already influences the day-to-day business of our customers. For you to get started, it's very easy. identify one of these use cases that we have also spoken about, define your stakeholders and users, get the right decision makers into the process. And once you have made a decision, I know that we can start almost immediately. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attendance and thank you for coming and attending our webinar. I really hope that we managed to inspire you, and I would like to ask you now, we have a second poll for today as a closing of the webinar, and I would like to, yes?
Just a short comment here. Unfortunately, we had a quick or a minor error with the poll, but we'll definitely follow up on the poll in our email after the webinar. So we'll definitely make sure to ask those questions to the customers of interest, okay?
Yep. Thank you very much. Well then, unfortunately, we are not able to gather your opinion on which use cases would be the best for you. So with that, I would like to thank you all for your attendance and thank you all for Christian and Laura for hosting us. And I believe now we will be going on to the Q&A session.
Yes, that's true. Thank you so much for your presentation. So let's just go through some questions that the attendees sent over. So first one here, do you have solutions based on real-world image anchoring, so models and media display on top of AR markers?
So just for me to understand correctly the question, because the connection also wasn't the best there. You mean real-world image overlaying on the video feed?
Yes, that's what I would guess is the reason for the question.
Well, currently, in terms of overlaying the real world or the real live video stream, we are able to have the AR marker that we have demonstrated in the video. This is what we have and what is already sufficient for our customers to realize the benefits.
Okay, okay. Then data storage is apparently an important topic for our attendees. So can you expand on the data backbone for the system? Where does the data reside and whether a cloud solution is available?
Mm-hmm. So we have the possibility to have the solution installed in the Ubimax cloud, which is basically a Microsoft Azure instance. So data storage security is all, of course, whatever Microsoft Azure can provide is being provided, as well as our data our data is encrypted during transfer. In addition to the Ubimax cloud, we also have the option to deploy the solution on-premise, where you would have full control over the data and the data security measurements. This on-premise installation can be your, I don't know, data center somewhere in your organization, or your private cloud, so your private Azure instance, for example, or AWS instance.
Okay. Next question. Do you have any integration in the warehouse management system?
I could talk a lot about that. The short answer is yes. For Coca-Cola, we have integrated with their SAP system. We have also integrated with JDA Manhattan and many other warehouse management systems, from lesser known systems also to in-house built warehouse management systems. So they're truly, the limitation here is really your imagination. There isn't really any restrictions or any warehouse management systems which we were not able to connect to.
Okay. Next question related to the Coca-Cola project. Does Coca-Cola have assigned specific people to the project, or people who run daily projects and operations that were in charge?
Absolutely. This was set up as like any other project in a large organization, with a project manager assigned, with the people assigned to manage the change management, with the people assigned to train, to be the trainers in the end who will train the end users again. So key user training, as well as in the warehouses, each of the warehouses, they have the warehouse supervisor who is assuring that everyone is using the devices to the way they need to be used.
Okay. another very famous question. So, how big is it an issue? How big an issue is a robust Wi-Fi network at the customer site? So, especially in production areas.
So, depending on your use case. So, for live video stream, we have optimized our solution to adjust to the bandwidth that you have available. So that is done automatically. If you have low bandwidth, then the solution will automatically adjust to your low bandwidth. If you have high bandwidth, then of course we will have full HD image and the image that the HMT1 can provide. For logistics and workflows, let's start with logistics. There we are working with the way the interface might be developed is that those are just simple text messages. And for text messages, you do not need more than a couple kilobytes per second of bandwidth. And even if you do not have internet or Wi-Fi coverage at a certain point in the warehouse, you can still continue your work offline. And once you get online again, the data will be synchronized back to the server and in return to the warehouse management system. And no data will be lost here. To talk about workflows and inspection training workflows, for example, again, you only need to load the workflow once when you start it, and then you can lose internet throughout the way as much as you want. Once you finish the workflow, the data will be stored on the device first, and then once you get internet again, it will be uploaded to the server. Okay.
One last question, maybe. Talking about local accents, how is this is this an issue when talking about text to speech and voice commands?
That's actually a really good question, and here I have the real world example of Coca-Cola Northern Ireland. We have English, obviously everyone, and everyone has English voice recognition. We deployed our solution. One of the first warehouses was in Northern Ireland, and the English accent in Northern Ireland is not exactly what our voice recognition software was trained for. So we had to make adjustments to our software recognition or voice recognition software. But again, we did it and it works now. We also developed basically Serbian and Bosnian languages for our voice recognition from scratch, pretty much. We also enabled Romanian, and we have many more languages. I could also go until tomorrow, but just to give you an idea, we are able to adjust, or based on your requirements, the voice recognition system.
Okay, perfect. Finished just in time. A really huge thank you for you guys, Ubimax, you Gábor and Sunil, for joining this event.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.